The spy was trained to resist, but one touch from him broke everything. Infiltration protocol. The air aboard Helios 9 hummed with tension. Naira Isrin adjusted her appearance one final time in the reflection of the curved window. The orbital station hung in geosynchronous orbit above Earth, a gleaming testament to human engineering. She smoothed down her formal diplomatic attire, specially designed to conceal the subtle anatomical differences between humans and her own species, the Valkyrie. 3 years of brutal interstellar conflict had finally led to this moment, a peace summit that would bring together representatives from both warring civilizations, or so the public narrative claimed. Naira knew better. Her true mission had nothing to do with peace. Identity verification complete. Welcome, Ambassador Thorne, the automated system announced as Naira passed through security. The voice resonated through her earpiece, confirming her cover identity was holding. The Valkyrie Intelligence Directorate had spared no expense on her transformation, molecular restructuring of her facial features, voice pattern modulators, and synthetic skin overlays concealing her natural iridescent markings. The grand atrium of Helios 9 bustled with diplomats, security personnel, and technical advisors. Humans were everywhere, their expressions ranging from hopeful to suspicious. Naira cataloged potential threats with practiced efficiency, her enhanced senses taking in minute details most would miss. The station's layout matched perfectly with the schematics she had memorized during her 18-month preparation. Her target was not the peace talks themselves, but the technical laboratories on Level 7, specifically Lab Complex E12. Within those secured rooms lay the prototype for Earth's revolutionary defensive shield technology, codenamed Aegis. The Valkyrie High Command wanted it desperately. With Earth's Aegis system, the tide of the war would turn decisively in the Valkyrie's favor. Ambassador Thorne, I'm Juliana Ortiz, your liaison during the summit. A woman approached, offering a professional smile and an electronic badge. This will grant you access to the diplomatic quarters and common areas. Naira returned the smile with calculated warmth. Thank you. It's my first time aboard Helios 9. Quite impressive. We're particularly proud of the research facilities. Earth's best minds have been working here since the conflict began, Juliana said, leading her through the atrium. The reception begins in 2 hours. Would you care for a brief tour? Perfect. I would appreciate that very much. The tour provided valuable intelligence, security patrol schedules, surveillance blind spots, and most importantly, the location of the primary access point to Level 7. Naira committed each detail to memory, already forming contingency plans. The Science Division occupies most of Level 7, Juliana explained as they passed a secured elevator. Our brightest minds work around the clock on various projects. I imagine security is quite tight, Naira observed casually. Absolutely. Biometric scanners, quantum encryption protocols, the works. Not that I'm suggesting you have any interest in breaking in, Juliana laughed lightly. Now shall we continue to the diplomatic quarters? Later that evening, Naira mingled at the welcome reception, a calculated exercise in human social dynamics. She sipped sparingly at her champagne, maintaining perfect awareness as she identified key personnel. Admiral Harrison, the gruff military commander with access codes to Level 7. Dr. Prishanair, head of xenobiology, with a laboratory adjacent to her target. And then, her attention locked onto a man she hadn't expected. Their conversation continued as the gathering thinned around them. With each exchange, Naira found herself forgetting momentarily that this was an intelligence-gathering exercise. Reeves spoke with passion about theoretical physics, about the responsibilities of scientific advancement, about the weight of decisions that affected billions of lives across 2 civilizations. When his hand accidentally brushed against hers while reaching for his drink, Naira felt an unusual sensation cascade through her enhanced nervous system. Her species' heightened tactile sensitivity registered something unexpected, a bioelectric compatibility that her training had never prepared her for. The subtle contact lingered in her awareness far longer than it should have. As the night concluded, Reeves surprised her with an offer. "I'm conducting a demonstration of non-classified research tomorrow for the diplomatic corps. Mostly public relations, but it might give you better context for the technical discussions ahead. Would you be interested in attending?" The perfect opportunity. I would. Very much. 900 hours, Laboratory Complex B8. He held her gaze a moment longer. "Until tomorrow, Ambassador." As Naira returned to her quarters, she transmitted her first encrypted update to Valkyrie High Command using a quantum pulse too brief for human sensors to detect. Yet her report omitted certain details. The way Reeves's eyes reflected genuine conviction when discussing peace, the unexpected reaction her biosystems had experienced at his touch, and most troublingly, her growing uncertainty about the true nature of the Aegis project. She had been trained to resist all forms of manipulation, emotional appeals, chemical influences, psychological tactics. Years of mental conditioning had rendered her immune to human charm or persuasion. Or so she had believed. As she prepared for the infiltration phase of her mission, one question lingered in her mind. Why had a single accidental touch from Darius Reeves broken through defenses that had never failed before? Defying destiny. Morning aboard Helios 9 brought a flurry of diplomatic activities, but Naira's focus remained singular. Laboratory Complex B8 might not house the Aegis prototype, but it would provide valuable intelligence on security protocols and potential access routes to her actual target. As she prepared for her meeting with Commander Reeves, she accessed the specialized neural implant hidden at the base of her skull, reviewing her mission parameters once more. The Valkyrie High Command's latest transmission had been unusually urgent. Extraction timeline accelerated. Security breach imminent. Complete mission within 36 hours. No witnesses. No witnesses. The implication was clear. Anyone who saw her near the Aegis prototype couldn't be permitted to report it, including Commander Reeves. Naira had eliminated targets before, but the thought of terminating the commander created an unexpected discomfort she attributed to tactical concerns. He was high profile. His death would trigger maximum security protocols, potentially trapping her aboard the station. That was the only reason for her hesitation. It had to be. "Ambassador Thorne, welcome." Darius greeted her outside the laboratory, his expression warming slightly when he saw her. "I hope you don't mind, but I've arranged for a private demonstration. The larger diplomatic group will tour later this afternoon." Private. Naira's senses heightened, alert for a potential trap. "I thought you might appreciate a more technical explanation than what we typically offer the diplomatic corps." He gestured toward the laboratory entrance. "Your questions yesterday suggested a deeper understanding of quantum mechanics than most politicians bother with." The laboratory doors slid open to reveal a spacious research facility filled with sophisticated equipment. Holographic displays projected complex equations and modeled subatomic interactions in shimmering blue light. Several workstations surrounded a central testing chamber, a transparent cube containing what appeared to be ordinary air. "What you're seeing is Phase 1 of the Aegis project," Darius explained, activating a control panel. "Not the classified components, of course, but the foundational research." Naira observed carefully, noting the laboratory layout, security camera positions, and access terminals. "It looks like standard particle manipulation research." On the surface, yes. Darius smiled slightly. "But watch this." He initiated a sequence, and the air within the transparent cube began to shimmer. "We've created a method to realign quantum states of standard atmospheric molecules, creating a barrier that's virtually impenetrable to energy weapons." Naira's scientific training allowed her to grasp the implications immediately. "You're changing the fundamental properties of matter itself." "Exactly. No special materials needed. Just the air around us, reconfigured at the quantum level." Pride colored his voice. Once fully implemented, this technology could protect civilian populations on both sides. No more planetary bombardments. No more mass casualties. She studied him carefully. You truly believe this technology will be used defensively? I ensured it. Something hardened in his expression. The full Aegis system is designed with specific limitations. It cannot be weaponized. I've built those safeguards directly into its quantum architecture. A seed of doubt took root in Naira's mind. Had her superiors misunderstood the technology's potential? Or worse, had they deliberately misrepresented its purpose to ensure her compliance? As Darius continued the demonstration, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Emergency lights pulsed red, and security announcements echoed through the communication system. Attention all personnel. Security breach detected in Sector 7G. This is not a drill. All non-essential personnel proceed to designated safe zones. Security teams to Sector 7G immediately. Darius's expression shifted instantly to focused concern. That's near the main power distribution hub. He moved to a communication terminal. Reeves here. Status report. The response came through clearly enough for Naira's enhanced hearing to detect. Commander, we have unauthorized access to critical systems. Appears to be sabotage. Signature matches neither Earth nor Valkyrie known methods. Naira tensed. This wasn't part of any Valkyrie operation she knew about. Something else was happening. Something that threatened her mission. Darius turned to her. Ambassador, you should proceed to the diplomatic safe zone on Level 3. What's happening? She asked, already calculating alternate routes to her target, while station security was distracted. I'm not certain, but he was interrupted by another alarm. The laboratory lights flickered ominously. Critical system failure imminent. Reactor containment protocols compromised. All personnel prepare for emergency procedures. Darius's face paled. If the reactor destabilizes, he didn't need to finish. Both knew the station would be destroyed, potentially triggering an interstellar incident that would escalate the war beyond any hope of resolution. I need to get to the reactor control center, he said, moving toward the door. I'm coming with you, Naira said without hesitation. Ambassador, this isn't. I have technical expertise you may find useful. It wasn't a complete lie. Her infiltration training had included comprehensive education on human technologies. And right now, you need all the help you can get. Something in her tone must have convinced him. He nodded sharply and led the way through increasingly chaotic corridors. Emergency bulkheads were beginning to close throughout the station, compartmentalizing potential damage. As they navigated through maintenance passages to avoid the sealed main corridors, Naira accessed her neural implant, sending an encrypted message to her extraction team. The response was immediate and troubling. Unknown third faction detected, believed to be Nexus Syndicate operatives. Mission parameters unchanged. Complete primary objective during chaos. The Nexus Syndicate, interstellar mercenaries known for playing both sides of conflicts for profit. Their presence complicated everything. When they reached the access corridor to the reactor control center, they found 2 security officers unconscious on the floor. Darius checked their vitals. Alive, but barely. Naira examined the security panel beside the sealed door. The system's been completely rewired. Someone doesn't want anyone getting in. Can you bypass it? Darius asked, his expression grim. She hesitated only briefly before allowing her specialized knowledge to show. Yes, her fingers moved deftly across the circuitry, manipulating connections in ways no human diplomat should know. She felt Darius watching her with growing suspicion, but continued until the door slid open. Inside, chaos reigned. Most of the technical staff lay unconscious. At the main control terminal stood a figure dressed in station maintenance coveralls, methodically overriding safety protocols. Step away from the controls, Darius ordered, advancing cautiously. The figure turned, revealing features that were neither human nor Valkyrie, the distinctive cranial ridges and amber eyes of a Nexus operative. Commander Reeves, right on schedule. Before either could react, the operative activated a hidden device. Energy crackled through the chamber. targeting control systems. Darius lunged for the emergency override, but the operative moved with enhanced speed, intercepting him with a vicious strike that sent him sprawling across the floor. Naira reacted instinctively. Her diplomatic disguise couldn't conceal her combat training, as she launched herself at the operative, moving with precision no human could match. The operative's eyes widened in recognition. "Valkyrie agent," the operative hissed, shifting to defensive stance. "Your masters didn't tell you about our arrangement, did they?" "What arrangement?" Naira demanded, circling carefully. The operative laughed. "Both sides paying us to ensure this peace talk fails spectacularly. Human station destroyed. Blamed on Valkyrie sabotage. War escalates, weapons contracts multiply." He glanced at the reactor controls. 5 minutes until catastrophic failure. Darius had regained his feet, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Naira. The use of her cover name reminded her of her precarious position. The operative knew what she was. Darius was beginning to suspect. Her mission was unraveling. The operative attacked again, this time wielding an energy blade that materialized from his wrist device. Naira evaded narrowly, feeling the heat as it passed millimeters from her face. She couldn't maintain her cover and survive this fight. Decision made, she released the molecular constraints on her enhanced abilities. Her movements accelerated beyond human capacity as she countered the operative's next attack, disarming him with a precision strike to nerve clusters unique to his species. "What are you?" Darius whispered, watching her performance with stunned recognition. She had no time to answer. The operative had activated a backup weapon, a pulse grenade designed to disrupt electronic systems. He hurled it toward the main reactor controls. Naira intercepted it mid-air, the explosive impacting her hand with force that would have shattered human bones. Pain lanced through her engineered musculature as she contained the blast radius, her synthetic skin burning away to reveal the iridescent Valkyrie markings beneath. "Fix the reactor," she ordered Darius through gritted teeth. "I'll handle him." To his credit, Darius hesitated only briefly before moving to the controls, his fingers flying across the interface with impressive speed. The operative recovered quickly, producing another weapon. "Your mission was to steal the Aegis technology, not save humans," he spat. "What would your commanders think of this betrayal?" "They lied to me," Naira realized aloud, the truth crystallizing with sudden clarity. "They knew about your operation. They wanted the station destroyed and the technology lost. Of course, peace would be catastrophic for weapons development." The operative smiled coldly. "Now step aside and let history take its course." Instead, Naira attacked with everything her enhanced body could produce. The fight was brutal but brief. When it ended, the operative lay unconscious, and Naira stood breathing heavily, her disguise completely compromised. "Reactor stabilizing," Darius announced, not looking up from the controls. "Emergency systems coming back online." Silence stretched between them as he finally turned to face her. Naira made no attempt to hide what she was now, a Valkyrie infiltration agent, exposed in the heart of Earth's most important research station. "You're here for Aegis," he said finally. "Not a question." Yes. There was no point denying it. "Yet you just helped save the station that houses it." His eyes studied her transformed features with scientific curiosity, rather than the fear or disgust she expected. Why? It was the question she had been asking herself since the moment she chose to confront the operative rather than use the distraction to complete her mission. "My orders were based on a lie," she said, finding strange relief in speaking truth after months of deception. "The Valkyrie High Command told me Aegis was an offensive weapon that could annihilate our homeworld. That stealing it was necessary for our survival." Darius's expression darkened. "It's exactly the opposite. Aegis could end this war without further bloodshed." He stepped closer, seemingly unafraid despite knowing what she was. "Your leaders and mine. They're profiting from this conflict. They don't want it to end." Security alarms continued to sound throughout the station. Soon, forces would arrive to secure the reactor room. Naira's extraction window was closing rapidly. "You should go," Darius said quietly, surprising her. "The maintenance shaft behind the secondary control panel leads to an external access port. You could reach extraction coordinates from there." She stared at him, confused by his offer. "You're letting me escape." "I'm choosing to believe what I saw, a person who had every reason to let this station be destroyed, but risked everything to save it instead." His gaze held hers steadily. "What will you do now, knowing the truth?" The question hung between them, heavy with implications. Her training demanded she complete her mission at any cost. Her extraction team awaited her signal. The Valkyrie High Command expected her to return with either the Aegis technology or confirmation of its destruction. But something had changed within her, something fundamental that had begun with that first, accidental touch in the observatory lounge and crystallized in the moment she chose to save the station rather than exploit its vulnerability. "Come with me," she said impulsively. "With your knowledge and my access, we could expose the truth to both sides. End this war the right way." Surprise flickered across his features, followed by thoughtful consideration. "Defection. Partnership," she corrected. "Neither Earth nor Valkyrie. A third option working for actual peace." The sound of approaching security forces echoed through the corridor outside. "They'll kill you if they find you here," he warned, glancing toward the door. "And your people will execute you as a traitor if you leave with me." She extended her hand, her true hand with its iridescent markings fully visible. "Choice is yours, Commander." Darius looked at her outstretched hand, then back to her eyes. In that moment, all pretense fell away. No longer spy and mark, no longer enemies on opposite sides of a conflict. Just two individuals standing at the crossroads of something much larger than themselves. His hand closed around hers, warm and certain. "Call me Darius." As security forces breached the outer perimeter, they slipped into the maintenance shaft, leaving behind the unconscious operative and evidence of a thwarted attack. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and the monumental task of challenging power structures that spanned star systems. But as they made their way toward an uncertain future, one thing became absolutely clear to Naira. No amount of training could have prepared her for the transformative power of an unexpected connection, or the strength found in choosing one's own path over predetermined destiny.